Nice, a hot one. Cooper, you did great. Whoa, you did great out there helping clean the burb. The 50th podcast episode just came out, and I got some of the best advice I've ever gotten. Well, it was after the podcast, but still really good advice during the podcast. And that's what I want to talk about today. But before we do that, I kind of want to touch on the things I want to do to improve my commuter car, because you might see some similarities. Also, before we do that, I just realized somebody stole my tow hitch. You know, the thing that you tow things with on the back of the Burb? It's an evil world, but if I have a piece of advice for that, revenge is the Lord's, and that's about all I can really do, so for whatever that's worth. This is my commuter car, and I want to show you, starting from the inside, what improvements need to be made. First things first, I'm very dumb, and I used a bleach wipe to wipe down the steering wheel, so you can kind of see the leather is getting torn off a little bit. Then on the driver's side door, we have this thing peeling off. Look at that, that's chipping. Got to clean this up a little bit. This needs to be detailed. All of the inside needs to be detailed. Then in the center console, this latch doesn't come down. Detail some of this and dust it off, make it look pretty. This guy I also took a bleach wipe to because I'm dumb. Unlock doesn't work. This door does not unlock. Maybe you can see it right there. There's no little lock thing. That's no longer covered. Big fat rip right there. Can't forget those stains. Then taking it to the outside, this tint is bubbling. This paint is coming off. Same on this, on the trunk. This Accord emblem got stolen, which I think is so weird. The exhaust, look at that. There's these little baby scratches all around the door handle. There's chips on the tires. I've never hit a curb in my life, but one could assume that could be it. But functionality wise, the brakes are going. The windshield wipers haven't been changed since Vietnam. The headlights, foggy as can be. The engine bay, there's no stick. I just did a dry clean. This is what it looked before. This is what it looks like now. This is what it looks like after I did a wet clean a long time ago. I want to paint that thing, paint this plastic cover. I want to detail some of that. Now you can hear all that and think, wow, that's a lot of stuff that you have to do, but I'd like to offer a different perspective. The advice pretty much boiled down to two things: persistence, never giving up, and minor improvements. To illustrate this, let's say you're climbing up a mountain, and the only way to get to the top is, one, you can't give up, and two, you have to make continuous, gradual improvements. If you stop and you give up, you're not gonna get to the top. If you quit making improvements, you're also not gonna get to the top, because you cannot quit, but if you never improve, you're never gonna get to the top. But if you do both, you have no choice but to end up at the top of this mountain, which is the metaphor of success. This was particularly encouraging to me because, similar to Jimmy Fallon, who said, if I don't make it on SNL by the time I'm 25, I'm gonna kill myself, I take very similar mindsets when it comes to success. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get there as soon as I can. However, this frames things in a way, if I do podcasting for the next 10 years and I continue to make improvements, and I end up at the top at the age of 34, that's still relatively young, and that's a good place to be. If I do YouTube videos for the next 10 years, imagine how good they'll be. Imagine how good I'll be at vlogs and editing and different types of shots. It's just a matter of continuing to get better and not letting self-doubt stand in your way of success. And I include my car in this video because it's easy to see that all those little improvements that need to happen, it's gonna be, by the time they're all done, it's going to be at an end state that I'm probably going to be happy with. However, it's applicable to anything that you'd like to do. For me particularly, it's the podcasting and YouTube, like I've already mentioned. But for you, it could be anything. It could be fishing, could be rock climbing, could be Rubik's cube solving. I don't know. I don't know what your thing is, but I do know if you continued at it and you never stopped, most likely you're gonna be the one at the top. My friend Grant has a good way of putting it too. He always says it's almost like it's survival. It's who survives the longest, the last man standing, that ends up getting the recognition or the spot they wanted at the end of the day. So for you, please be patient and keep chipping away at your dreams, because the world needs whatever you have to offer. If you're passionate about it, the best thing you can do for this world is to pursue the things you're passionate about. So, as always, you're loved, you're worth it. Listen to the podcast, subscribe, and I'll see you later. Also, great to be back on the vlogs. Okay, bye.
I let it flow, I get my drip on. Swing kicks, I'ma slip on and dip on. dip on. Yeah. I flip a switch, I get my drip on. Drip. Watch it step when I drip, might slip, yeah. I let it.
And I really believe that because you're going to be the most motivated to help other people